She stood in my doorway, hands clenched, eyes wide with frustration, asking, again, for something I'd already told her she couldn't have. "Can I borrow your makeup?" she said. My stomach tightened. "No," I told her calmly, and I meant it. But what followed next wasn't calm, it wasn't reasonable, and it wasn't just about makeup. Because when your little sister storms out of your room, then sends you a full paragraph telling you she never wants to speak to you again, over blush and mascara, something deeper is going on. She said I ruined our relationship, that I'd destroyed the bond between sisters. And then she blocked my number. Not just emotionally, she literally blocked me. Over makeup. So, am I the asshole? I'm 19. She's 13. And that gap, 6 years, isn't just about age. It's about the space between childhood and something else. The space where boundaries start to mean something. The space where respect has to be earned. And the space where some things you just don't share, like makeup. Because for me, it's not about selfishness. It's not about being a bad sister or holding on to products out of vanity. It's about hygiene. It's about comfort. It's about having one little corner of my life that I can call mine. I'm a germaphobe. She knows that. Always has. It's not a joke or a quirk. It's how I live. Sharing anything I put directly on my face, that's a hard line, and she's aware of that. But that day, she came in anyway. Asked, pushed, then begged, then got angry. And when I said no, for the last time, she left. I thought it would stop there, but her text came minutes later, paragraphs. "I honestly don't want to speak to you again," she wrote. "Good job ruining yours and your little sister's relationship." And in that moment, something cracked inside me. Because this wasn't just about makeup. This was a pattern, a slow erosion of boundaries I've been trying to keep standing. Half my things are already scattered across her room. Clothes, accessories, even small keepsakes I'd told her to return months ago. Some she claims are lost, some she hides. And despite all that, despite everything she's already taken, this was the hill she wanted to die on. The makeup I use on my own face. And for saying no, I'm apparently the villain. She didn't stop at the text. She refused to give back any of my stuff she'd borrowed. She vowed to never speak to me again. And she blocked me on her phone. We live in the same house. And for 5 days, she ignored me. Wouldn't look at me. Wouldn't respond. I told myself it was fine. I needed the space. That if she wanted to sulk, I'd let her. But something about it kept gnawing at me. Not guilt, just a low, deep ache. The kind you get when someone you love decides you're disposable. Then came today. The door flew open. No knock, no warning. She broke in. Literally broke in. Collapsed in a heap on my floor. Crying. Her friend had blocked her. And in that moment, everything I'd been holding on to, the anger, the resentment, the sense of betrayal, it softened. Not because it stopped mattering, but because she was in pain. And despite everything, I still loved her. So I sat with her. I held her while she cried, rubbed her back, let her speak. For 30 minutes, she fell apart in my room. The same room she'd sworn to never enter again. The same space she'd once declared off limits. And I let her in. But even in that moment, even after I'd comforted her, she brought it back to me. Back to her text. Back to the makeup. Back to how I'd caused the fight. How I'd ruined things. I tried to explain. Everything. Calmly. Gently. That I wasn't trying to hurt her. That it wasn't personal. That I needed certain things to be mine. That hygiene, especially when you have sensitive skin and anxiety, matters. but I'm not sure she heard me. She nodded, maybe, said some things, but the fog in her eyes didn't lift. Not really. And that's the part that's hardest, because it wasn't just a tantrum. It wasn't just a bad day. It was a moment where someone I've loved since she was a baby looked me in the eyes and blamed me for creating distance when all I did was say no. And when she blocked my number, that wasn't a joke. That wasn't teenage drama. That was a choice. And that choice hurt. I get it. She's 13. Everything feels bigger at that age. More dramatic, more personal. The world is a storm, and every wave feels like the end. But being 13 doesn't mean you get to violate someone's boundaries. It doesn't mean you get to hold relationships hostage when you don't get your way. And it doesn't mean that no becomes a betrayal. I worry about her. I worry that this is the beginning of a bigger pattern. That if she never learns to understand other people's limits, life is going to be hard. Not just for those around her, but for her too. Because real connection, the kind that lasts, can only exist where there's respect. And right now, that's missing. Last time she got mad at me, it was over a shirt. One she stole from my bin. It had a phrase on it, "Women come first." Not exactly a slogan for a middle school hallway, but she didn't care. She thought I was mean for taking it back. Told me I was a terrible sibling, that I was overreacting, that I didn't understand her. And maybe I don't understand everything she's going through. I don't know what it's like to be 13 in this generation, to live in a world where social media teaches you that everything has to be immediate, aesthetic, shareable. But what I do know is this: my boundaries matter. My comfort matters. And love doesn't mean surrendering every piece of yourself just to avoid a fight. So, am I the asshole for saying no to makeup that goes on my skin? For not wanting to share things I use daily? For refusing to let my little sister guilt trip me into submission? Or for being the older sister who drew a line and held it, even when it cost me a relationship I care deeply about? Maybe to her, I am. But I've learned something important in all of this. You can love someone deeply, truly, fiercely, and still not give them everything they ask for. You can hold space for their pain and still say no. You can be a sister without being a doormat. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is protect your peace. So no, I don't think I'm the asshole. But I do think we have a lot of growing to do. Both of us. Because relationships built on guilt aren't really relationships. They're performances. And I'm done performing. This story isn't just about a makeup dispute. It's about the fragile line between love and self-preservation, especially within family. What happens when the people we love cross our boundaries and then blame us for holding them? This isn't just teenage drama. This is emotional manipulation, born out of insecurity, fear, and immaturity. And it happens in homes everywhere. So if you're listening to this and you've ever felt like saying no would make you the villain, this is your reminder. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to say no, even to family, especially to family, because love that demands total sacrifice isn't love. It's control. And control has no place in real connection. So what about you? Have you ever been guilt-tripped into silence? Into surrender? Have you ever been called selfish just for having limits? We want to hear from you. Drop your story in the comments, or just let us know. Was she the asshole? And if you're a big sibling, or a little one, what would you have done? Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about makeup. It's about respect. And every relationship begins there. Thanks for listening to AITA Stories. Until next time, protect your peace. And don't be afraid to say no.